Hi guys, so this is a video on quadratics. So now we're going to use factoring possibly and other methods to solve quadratics. So when you see the words for quadratics that mean to solve, we might see it says solutions of a quadratic, the roots, the zeros. Okay, x-intercepts also, but it doesn't usually say that. I would say the most popular are the zeros and the roots. Alright, and there are a few methods we learned to do that. Think of our NAW table. So we learn graphically, numerically, meaning a table, and then we learn algebraically, and the two algebraic methods are quadratic formula and factoring, which is the three things we just did in the last video. Okay, so let's do the first one, factoring, so that we can take a look at that. Alright, so I see a trinomial, so I'm going to do my product sum. So I think of 2 and 15. So negative and positive, so that would get me negative 13x, so that works. I make my box. First term, last term, two middle terms. X times x gets me x squared, positive 2, negative 15. Now what's different about this one as opposed to last video is now I take my factors and I set them equal to 0. So these things are my factors. Alright, they are not my solutions. In order to get my solutions, I need to set them equal to 0 and solve. So my solutions are my roots are x equals negative 2 and x equals 15. Okay, let's look at the next one. Okay, what are the solutions to the equation in simplest radical form? That means radical means I'm going to have a square root in my answer. So that triggers to me that I need to use the quadratic formula. Alright, so I need to get this equal to 0, minus 24. Okay, so now I have my A is 1, B is negative 8, C is negative 24. I should never, ever, ever have a letter in my formula. I got it wrong. B, A, C. Alright, so first one, I simplify and get positive 8. The denominator, I simplify and get 2. Underneath the square root. Give me a second while I'm typing that in my calculator. I get 160. I break it up. X equals, I'm going to do 8 divided by 2. That's 4. plus square root 160 divided by 2. And I'm going to leave that as my answer. So my final answer is these two solutions. All right, let's flip to the next page. Okay, I'm going to skip this one. It says completing the square. I want you to choose your method. Okay. All right. Now for number 4, I have two equations. I have what we call a system. All right. So when I have two equations, it is a system. And I can solve them graphically, numerically. It doesn't say in this problem how I have to solve it. It just says how many weeks. Okay. So if I'm doing it algebraically, I have to set them equal to each other. And then get them equal to 0. Okay, and I'm going to rewrite that so that it's in order. And now from this point, I can choose to either solve using the quadratic formula, just like we did in number 2, or factoring like we did in number 1. Okay, so that's how I do it algebraically. So if it says to do it algebraically, that's the way to go. If it doesn't, I like to use my calculator and get the answer that way. So I type in them both into y equals separately. So 1 in y1 and 1 in y2. And I'm looking for where they're the same or where they intersect. So this is different than the roots. Okay, I'm looking for that point of intersection. So when I look at my table, I see that they intersect in 2 places. I'm going to skip a few numbers there. I see they intersect at -2. And they intersect at 7. But on your regions, you want to make sure to write down all the other numbers too. Or at least a few in between so they know you're not just like making it up. Okay, and those are still my 2 points of intersection, but I need to answer the question. The question said, where do they make the same amount of money? How many weeks? Now, I can't just have those 2 solutions and not answer it, so I need to answer it. So, in -2 weeks? Nope, that doesn't make sense. So, in 7 weeks, they both make $95. All right.